What's up, everybody? You know what time it is. It is time for Forum Friday on the Floor POV Podcast, the best and only podcast for everything World of Warcraft related. And these are some fun ones for the forum today. I'm going to be honest, you guys are a little quiet this week. Not very quiet in game, but very quiet on the forums this week. So some of these are lore. Well, okay, I do 3 every week. So one is lore, one is like a fun question to ask the audience, and the last one is a controversial topic about WoW. So, or a WoW event, I should say. So these are going to be just some fun ones for this week. But it got me thinking, and I'll dive into this in the first one we go into about which, in the first one we go into, which is about the Infinite Dragonflight. Ooh, I'm very excited. Yeah, crazy topics this week. The forums are ranging anywhere from people wanting new stuff for fucking Draktheirs, and then people talking about wanting to become a druid IRL, which I think is just a furry. I could be wrong. But very wide spectrum of topics this week. Not sure, like, where our brains are all at, which totally fair, totally fair. So I picked the best ones to talk about, I think. Because honestly, a little concerning where some people's headspace is at in terms of World of Warcraft. So let's dive right in. These are, again, I do 3 every week. So what I do is I browse the Blizzard forums, which are public. In case you don't know, you can post on the Blizzard forum as long as I think you have a character that's level 10 or something. You can post on the Blizzard forum and it's public. Anybody that has World of Warcraft or a BNet account or whatever can be posting on the forum. You choose, I'm looking at the screen right now, but you choose the character you want to present as, I guess. And you present as that character, and I'm actually going to change it. I'm going to change it to my druid. You present as that character when you post, so it will give the character's name, etc. So let's dive right in. Like I said, the first one is about the Infinite Dragonflight. So this is given to us by Gua, a goblin hunter. And the question is, maybe this is a better question for the story forum, but I figured I'd try here first. And they're referencing Eternus. Now, if you don't know who Eternus is an infinite dragon that holds allegiance to the Infinite Dragonflight, though initially opposed to Nosdormu, who is the bronze dragonflight aspect, and seeking the same goal of all infinites, the creation of Murozond, which is like Nosdormu's darkened, alter ego. Eternus began the question of the validity of her flight's purpose. So, if you don't know who Eternus is, if you don't know who the Bronze and the Infinite Dragonflights are, I would say do a deeper dive into those. If you played through Dragonflight, you did get a pretty good look into Dragonflights in general, and especially into Nosdormu and the Bronze Dragonflight, because prior, we really didn't get much of Nosdormu's story. We knew back a long time ago, Cataclysm, we knew that. Was it Cataclysm? Yeah, we knew about Murozond. We knew what could potentially happen. You eventually find out that Murozond is like an alternate reality, different timeline of Nosdormu, and Nosdormu doesn't want to become Murozond in this timeline. And it's a lot of back and forth. It's like what Marvel did with all the different time ways and Loki and like jumping time ways and stuff. Like that's essentially the Infinite Dragonflight. So go read up on that. But essentially what Gua is asking is, Eternus has been the guiding hand in our Remix adventures thus far, and it seems to be continuing with Legion Remix. Eternus is a leader of a splinter group of infinites that work with the Bronze Dragonflight in protecting the Timeways, but as shown later, certainly does not represent the whole. Essentially, Eternus and their little group of the Infinite Dragonflight are not following the same footsteps of the Infinite Dragonflight in as a whole, essentially is what he's saying. Their core beliefs are the same, that changing the past leads to a better future, and the Titans are a bunch of blockheads. Eternus simply believes forcing the future to result in Murozond is not the right way to go about things. Fair, totally understand, totally agree. The Infinites have been quiet since their assault on the Timeways. As we know, they were working alongside Iridikron in securing and empowering the Dark Heart for Xalatath, but since there have been a few sightings of them mingling with us mortals, But since then, nothing major. Eternus is reliving these moments of the past to gain a better perspective on things, with her splinter group of infinites and the Time Runners to join them. But again, this is not the whole, and presumably the remainder is still aligned with Iridikron. I'm loath to believe the infinites are going to up and vanish. They've been foes since the Burning Crusade, and their quest to change the past to bring about some kind of new future is still there. What do you think the future brings for the mysterious black and blue dragons? There seems to be a belief that the infinites are just reskinned bronze, and they're just super chill dragon folk now, but I do not believe that's the case. And I agree with you. I do not believe that's the case either. And I will not ever believe that, because essentially what the infinite dragonflight, as he mentioned, we see it in Dragonflight expansion as well, their one goal is to bring about Murozond. That doesn't just like disappear because all the primals are gone, Iridikron, like all of those are gone. That doesn't just like stop. It just transforms. It just changes. So they may not have all of the tools that they had a year or two ago, literally, but they are still wanting to bring about Murozond. They still think that that is like the saving of the world, essentially. And I'm sorry, if you hear my phone buzz, I'm getting like a bunch of text messages from my family group chat, so I apologize. And I'm looking at my tablet and whatnot. Anyways, so I don't think they're going to disappear. When will they come back? And as I go through some of these replies to the forum, that is seeming to be like the biggest thing, is when are they going to make a return? Because they've been quiet since Dragonflight. Obviously, we're getting Legion Remix, so we're going to be intermingling with them again. But it's not going to be on the level of, oh my god, we're here to bring about Murozond. It's going to be just more like, okay, let's restudy Legion, see what went wrong. And guys, we all know why we're restudying Legion, right? We know Illidan's coming back. We know that there has to be something to do, some connection or some plot twist or some plot hole that we see in Remix that will shape the future of Midnight and the Last Titan. We know Illidan's coming back. We know that there has to be something revolving around Sargeras' sword in the world. We know that Legion Remix is coming back for that reason. Like, they come back for certain reasons. It's not just like, oh, we're bored, have a Legion Remix. It's, no, we want you to revisit the lore. We want you to revisit history. Not in the under the guise of, we're gonna study it. But, like, there's a very specific reason. So, in response to this, one person says, Flexa Guy, Felix Guy, says, maybe they are simply lost to the time ways. Think about it with one of their own now siding with the Bronze. These Time Runner events could be used to block them from the one true timeline. I agree that they aren't likely gone from the fight, but I could see them pop up in the Last Titan to cause trouble. Be the event that finally causes the Bronze Flight leader to change and complete his fate. I mean, we do go back to Northrend in the Last Titan. What would be a better time to have another a time fight on our hands? Yes, we do. And we all know Dragon Blight and the Wormrest Corridor there, and we fought Deathwing there. It's going to kind of like be a full circle moment in the Last Titan, and I am kind of leaning towards Felix on, there is a reason that we are going back, again, we're going back in time to study history, but we're seeing different pieces of the puzzle start to kind of align themselves, and I don't think that the Dragonflights are done. I don't think that we just up and left them in the last expansion. I really don't think that they're done. Are they going to be in Midnight? Probably not, but I assume that the Last Titan is going to be everybody comes and helps. And maybe it is Murozond gets taken and turned. Maybe that timeline becomes the reality. Maybe we have to shift timelines to save Azeroth. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they're trying to find the timeline that we live in. And again, I'm likening it to Marvel and the Time Ways. Maybe they're trying to shift our Azeroth into a different dimension, essentially, to save it from whatever is coming. So I'm not 100% sold that Murozond will come out. I can see the Dragonflight like actually being sacrificed in some way, but I'm not settling on Murozond making a reappearance. I guess we'll have to see how Midnight kind of goes and see what strings they draw on for Midnight before I'm like, yep, he's coming back in the Last Titan. So in response to that, Gua said, maybe Murazan is destined to be. Even he knows he has been a big plot point for him since Cataclysm. It's just a matter of when and how. And then somebody else said, they're not a my God, what is wrong with me? They're not a unified faction. Eternus and Dio are two very first different groups with the Infinite and very different goals. This guy is using totally bad grammar. So, again, I am going to agree with the both of them, Felix and Gua, that the dragonflights are not done. Whether it be Infinite, Red, like whatever, they're not done. But are they necessarily going to make a comeback in Midnight or the Last Titan? Is it a comeback? Is it an end time? Is it we're shifting the planet and we need them? Because it's not like Anduin can just be like, yep, let's hop timelines. Like, he can't do that. It's going to require the dragonflight, the bronze dragonflight, and the infinite dragonflight. You know, what role is Chromie going to play in this? Chromie's been our sidekick now for fucking ever. What role does she play? So there's a lot of ifs and buts and ands and thens. I don't think that they're done. I think they will come back in the Last Titan. I think we may see maybe even Alexstrasza die in the Last Titan. I can see her sacrificing herself. She almost did in Dragonflight. I really, really am crossing my fingers that the Emerald Dream, Amirdasil, like, I really hope that that doesn't get destroyed, because I feel like we just got closure with Cheldrassil becoming Amirdasil, and like, I feel like we just got the closure with that, and I don't want Amirdasil to be hurt. So I'm really hoping if we're fighting, we're not fighting on the Dragon Isles, and we're not fighting in Amirdasil. We're like, the dragonflights can come to us in Azeroth, like regular Azeroth, Kalimdor, and whatever. Don't hurt Amirdasil, please. As a Night Elf main, please don't hurt Amirdasil. That's my plea. Murazan can come back, just don't touch Amirdasil. Please, thank you. Okay, moving on to the next one. But I'm if you think Murazan is destined to be, let me know why. Because I've never really talked about the timeline stuff of World of Warcraft. Mostly because if you're just playing, like, it kind of just goes into the background. If you're just running around doing quests and whatnot, you don't tend to focus on it. But it is a huge lore point, and it's become more rampant, obviously, since the last expansion, and we were, figuring out all the Titan stuff and the Dragonflight stuff. But I'm curious to know, if you think Murazan is destined to be, let me know why. And if you think that his essentially coming is not going to happen, then let me know why too. Because the prophecy is still out there. That didn't just go away at the end of the Dragonflight expansion. It's still there. Oh my god, literally like 27 text messages. Oh my god, I can't. Anyways, look at me trying to sound popular. All right, so the next one is, what is one thing you would remove and replace within WoW? So don't just think like, I would remove this weapon. Like, think big picture, because these people did. So if I had to actually replace one thing, it would be fucking Warlords of Draenor. But I don't know what I would replace it with. That's where I'm struggling. I would replace the entire zone of Warlords of Draenor. That is by far my worst. That is by far Blizzard's worst storyline. It was very, like, to me, it seemed very cheap and just, I get it. I understand, because it was like setting us up for Gul'dan, and it was setting us up for like all of this and that and the other thing, but it just felt cheap and out of left field. The zone literally just copy paste from Outlands, which obviously is the point, but I would replace all of Warlords of Draenor and all of the raids and all the fucking dungeons. Oh my god. But what I would replace it with, I have no idea. That becomes the problem. When I'm thinking, like, would it be an entire expansion, or maybe we just move the timeline up, like, just replace, like, I actually don't know what I would replace it with, because obviously the logical answer is an expansion, but I don't even know what I would want an expansion on. That really becomes the problem. I'm going to have to think further on that, but let's see what other people said. So Durona said, for example, I would remove Shadowlands and replace it with an Emerald Dream expansion. We kind of got that, though, with a Mirrorsil. Is Emerald Dream enough for an entire expansion? I don't know. Toby said, I would rewrite the lore section of Cataclysm and make it to where Bane challenged Garrosh instead of Cairn. I do like that. Shazin said, I would remove Earthen and replace it with a playable Saberon. That would be cool, but it would be even cooler if the Saberon were the Horde only, because then Alliance would have Worgen and the Horde would have Saberon. I think that would be really cool. Remove Mechanomes and replace them with the Sethrak. I totally stand behind that. Breaking Wind. I'm sorry. I would remove Pathfinder and I would add an achievement called Mythic Journey. If you do every Mythic Plus dungeon on Normal, Heroic, and Mythic 0, you are awarded one piece of Mythic track gear on the character that completes the achievement. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Wait a second. Because he's not saying to do quests. They just are saying to do the dungeons. So it would be every season dungeon. So like, for example, if you went and did Priory, Normal, Heroic, Mythic, Arakara, Normal, Heroic, Mythic. That is very interesting. Breaking Wind, you are on to something. I hope you see this because you know what? You need to like email this to them. Wait a second. Let's divulge for a second. Let's cross timelines here. What if this is the incentive that gets people to play classes like tank and healer in Mythic Plus? What if the achievement, let's take like Mythic Journey for example, that's the achievement called, if you tank every season dungeon on Normal, Heroic, and Mythic 0, you are awarded a Mythic track here, but it's only for tanks and healers. And then further that incentive, if you complete all 5s timed, you get another piece of Mythic track gear as tank and healer. If you complete all 10s timed, you get Breaking Wind. We need to talk. I really fucking love that idea. I really fucking love that. See, and I know we've talked about this before and I'm totally diverting here, but there needs to be more incentive for tanks and healers in the game. And I think this is a great way to do it. I think that's fucking awesome. Okay, moving on, going back. Tauren players, we don't even need a replacement. Oh my god. And that's a Magheart orc saying that, by the way. X Silence said the owners with the new ones. Oh, damn. All right. Magnarok said, I would remove any notion that the jailer had been secretly behind everything this whole time. Have it just be him taking advantage of circumstances. Have the Nathrazim still originate from the Shadowlands. Have them still fill Argus with death energy, which sends his soul to the Shadowlands and destroys the Arbiter. But then that is what triggers everything and gives the jailer a chance to do whatever. He has all of eternity to wait for golden opportunities. It is more believable than him engineering them. Yes and no. So here's how I look at the jailer. The jailer's the devil, right? And the arbiter is God. That's kind of the dynamic, right? One thing, if you follow any type of religion, the common theme between all religions is that evil will try to guide you down certain paths. Evil will always be, messing around in the background, causing things to happen, trying to get you when you're at your lowest. And I think that that's the mindset they were going with, is that he's a master manipulator. He is evil. He's trying to manipulate those, and he does successfully with Sylvanas. He tries to manipulate those and guide them down the path of evil. And it is up to those that believe in the light to not go down those paths. Had Sylvanas believed in the light, she might not have gone down the evil road. So I'm going to politely disagree with that and say that essentially the jailer and the arbiter are good versus bad, bad versus evil versus good, whatever. The jailer is essentially the devil trying to steer you down a certain road, and that's why he manipulates from the background. So I'm going to disagree with that one. I think that that was done purposefully. Maybe it's cheap writing, but I think it was done purposefully. Rakim says, remove the writing team and replace it with myself. I love you. I love your enthusiasm and your ambition. Glaive Dancer said, I would prefer none of the content that's been made for WoW to be removed. And in fact, I would choose to stop sunsetting certain items and features. Does anybody ask him? Does he say what? Fair point. Fair point. Because instead of like cutting off somebody's storyline, they could just have them come back a certain way. Like, I see where you're going, but I would need an example. All right, another remove class. Are all of your posts bait, or were you just bored when you made this one? I would delete gnomes and replace them with hobbits, but those are dwarves. Okay, so what would you replace in World of Warcraft? What would you remove and replace? Because for me, like I said, I think it would just be all of Warlords of Draenor. I think we could have had a much better expansion. I think there could have been much more opportunities for Warlords of Draenor. What that expansion or opportunity was or is, I'm still cooking. Still cooking up in my head. I feel like, I know we go underwater for Cataclysm with Bashir and again in BFA with the Nazjatar. But I feel like there's this whole fucking ocean in World of Warcraft that, just like in real life, we have no idea what it is. Like, we have no idea what's under the ocean. And I feel like we should. So would I want a whole expansion underwater? Not necessarily. You know, we kind of had like the alien invasion expansion. Like, I don't know. I feel like we need to like explore more of the world, you know, not just keep finding new islands. So that's what I would do. What about you? And then our last one is the most controversial WoW event. So this is talking more about like lore or whatever. It was totally open for interpretation. You can see there's people that are taking it funny and people that are taking it seriously. So Ranger here is the main poster. And for those of you that are Night Elf mains, you know, I'm going to probably stir up some feelings here. But Ranger said, WoW has a long history with many major events. Some of these events can and do have an impact on the actual players. What was the event that you consider the most controversial in WoW? I'll go first. Sylvanas burning the World Tree of Teldrassil. Night Elves are my favorite race in WoW. My very first character was a Night Elf hunter, and when Sylvanas Windrunner burned down Teldrassil, it almost made me cry. I full on cried. I thought it was just a game, but the emotion was real. I still grieve for Teldrassil. You and me too, girl. Okay, Mega... I'm not even going to say that. It says, the patch with the selfie camera. Be fucking for reals. Wait, who replied? I don't know, that patch unified us in complaining and making fun of Blizzard. I will say the selfie camera is fine, but when you are fucking taking 8 pictures of wildlife in the Oasis, I want to destroy the camera. Axton said the fight between Thrall and Garrosh, if we go by the definition of causes disagreement, many still think Thrall cheated. I always thought Thrall cheated, and I'm gonna liken it to like Gul'dan versus what's his face? You guys know. Back in Warcraft. Why am I blanking on his name? Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. I always thought Thrall cheated a little bit, but like, is that the most controversial? No, because people in World of Warcraft cheat all the time. Undercroft said, mine is probably the same, referencing Sylvanas, but for a different reason. As a leader of the Forsaken, she was great. Go replay the Silverpine Forest storyline. When they made her war chief was the beginning of the end, and the burning of the World Tree was the worst. She was never an evil character, for fuck's sake. Damn, I'm getting mad just typing this. She was not evil to start, but again, she allowed evil to corrupt her. She allowed evil to bring her down the evil road. She should have saw a little bit of the light. Erixie said either the patch that added Twitter support or the 3 patches in a row that they changed the icon for Stormstrike. I don't remember that. My most controversial event was Arthas just being wiped away in Shadowlands, just wafted away. Um, what do the replies say? No. I don't think he's coming back. I don't think Arthas is coming back, guys. I hate to be the one that burst your bubble. I think his story is done. Just like I think Uther's story is done. I think they're done. I think they're not really coming back. If they come back, it'll be a whiff or a puff. I think that they're done. Arthas being wiped away in Shadowlands, like, it kind of makes sense. We weren't there for Arthas. We weren't there for Uther. They were just background characters, essentially, in that expansion. Would it have been cooler to see more of it? Yes. And you know what I always say? When Anduin, okay, so I didn't put two and two together the first time. So when I watched the cinematic of Anduin walking into Elysian Hold, right? And Uther recognizes Anduin, I always thought that was Varian. And we never saw Varian in Shadowlands. Never. We never saw Varian see his son. And that to me is wrong. We saw Uther, we saw Arthas. Where was Varian? His son got captured and tortured and tormented. And Varian was nowhere to be found. A puff, a thought, an imagination. Like, I would have thought Varian would have played more of an intense role when it came to Anduin in Shadowlands. And he didn't. He wasn't even the... Come on. Plot where? Ugh. Okay, let's see who else. Strange is they seem to avoid her interacting with her... Oh, talking about Sylvanas. Okay. Yeah, true. WoW being released will continue to be its most controversial moment. Damn. The decision to make Warlords of Draenor have no flying at first, which led to months of long protests on the forums to revert this change and many people quitting the game, ultimately resulting in Pathfinder. Yes. 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 We quit the game. So we stopped playing for a little bit in Warlords of Draenor because we both were just like, fuck this. Like, I was... What year did Warlords of Draenor come out? Was that like 2014? 2014? I was 15 years old, and I was like, I'm done with this. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, I'm in high school. I'm cool. Like, I didn't want to be spending my time in Warlords of Draenor. Does that mean that, like, the entire expansion is a throwaway? No, but, like, it was not it. It was not it. Veilgate, I do not remember Veilgate, so I'm not going to talk about it. Teldrassil again. Dungeon Finder is being classified as a ruin to the game? No. No. N'Zoth being a parch villain? A patch villain? Is that what they mean? The Draenei having a Giga Cannon attached to a spaceship that can blow holes in things, and the Burning Legion also utilizing Star Wars-esque ships. Of course. So those are people's most controversial topics. Obviously, you have some serious ones. Obviously, you have some not serious ones. What is my most controversial WoW event? Oh, God. I mean, I don't think that the burning of Teldrassil is the most controversial event. I really don't. Because it's not like it just, like, happened out of the blue. If you had been following, like, Sylvanas' lore, you would have... I don't think that that's the most controversial event. What is, I would need, like, a day or two to marinate. I would have to think about it, truthfully, because there are a lot of them. Yes, I'm not saying that her burning the world tree, especially because I just talked about it in my last video, is not controversial. Is it the most controversial? No. I think, and this is just me saying in like a 2-second thought, the most controversial is that you can't queue for fucking Mythic 0. That's my most controversial. Is that you can only queue for normal and heroic. We added in follower dungeons, but we didn't add in Mythic Zero. Make it make sense. And Mythic Plus has been a thing for a long time now. Like, it's not like Mythic Plus just started a year ago. Mythic Plus and keys have been around for some time now. Like, I feel like we should be able to queue for Mythic Zero. So maybe that's my most controversial event. But let me know yours, because I know a lot of people are probably going to say Teldrassil too. I like the lore ones, but I'm going to give it up. Like, the selfie camera one was funny. When you think about, like, of all the things you could complain about in World of Warcraft, you're complaining about a selfie camera. Also, my second most controversial thing would probably have to be the fucking Oasis questline. I just finished it, and genuinely, I feel like I lost so much time off my life that I'm never gonna get back. I love the idea. I love that we're bringing life back to the ecodomes, but did we have to do like 10 to 15 quests for each piece of life? I don't think that was necessary. No, I do not. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining. This was our 4th Forum Friday. I can't believe I'm already saying that. That's wild. Time is flying. On a real note, time is flying. My wedding anniversary is on Monday. I've been married a year. A fucking year. I've been streaming 10 months. 10 and change months. It's wild. Like, genuinely wild. Where life, like, what's happened. This year feels very long but very short at the same time. Like, when I think about the past year of my life, I'm like, holy shit, like, a lot happened, but it also feels like nothing happened at all. It's just very weird. It's one of those like paradoxal things. Is that the word? I don't even know. I feel like I'm in a trance every day that I wake up. It's like when you get into a routine, you just kind of like wake up and go to work and come home and play, and you know, it just becomes a routine. And I think that's what makes time fly so fast, is because we're just living the same life day in and day out. Sadly, but it's true. Oh my god, a year. I can't. I'm still thinking about what I'm gonna do for my year streaming. I thought about actually taking some time off of streaming when I hit a year, which I guess is what you're not supposed to do. But I don't know. I feel like time is moving so fast and I'm not catching up. Like, in terms of WoW, I feel like I'm so far behind. I'm almost at 2400 IO score, but like, people are fucking pushing 4K. Like, not that I'm gonna be on those people's level, but I feel like I'm behind all the time in WoW. And in life, I guess. But I am only 26. So I guess I have a lot of time left. I'm gonna be your next WoW grandma. You're gonna be tuning into me streaming and I'm gonna be like, over the fucking keyboard. I don't even know. God. Okay, that went off on a tangent. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to depress you on a Friday. You're supposed to be hype. It's the fucking weekend. Let's go. Get hype. Go do something. Go outside. Go have fun. Play the game, but touch some grass. It's very important. Breathe. Meditate. Take a nap. Get some good food in your system. It's the weekend. You're going to have a good weekend. You will not get the Sunday scaries. You're going to enjoy life, because it's very short, it's very fleeting. Enjoy it. Don't forget to tune in on Sunday. Tyler and I this Sunday are going to be talking about time gating. We're going to be talking about loot systems. We're going to be talking about all of these systems put in place by World of Warcraft. And I'm very excited for this one, because now that Tyler's opened many vaults and he's, you know, sought after getting gear and, you know, all the different steps to get gear, it's very, very going to be fun to see his interpretation of it, his reaction to it, because I know how I feel. And I think you guys know how I feel too. But if you don't, tune in Sunday. If you like what you see and you want to see more from me and you want to hear more about the podcast and me and Tyler and what we talk about, click the subscribe button. You'll be notified if you turn on notifications every time I post a video and a podcast. I do usually upload my VODs from Twitch too. You can watch those here on my channel. And then the podcast is every Sunday, Tuesday. No, Sunday? Yeah, Sunday, Tuesday, Friday. Guys, I don't even know where I am. What time is it? What day is it? I don't know. But have a great weekend. Let me know if you go out and do anything fun, and I'll catch you guys on Sunday. Peace out, Cub Scouts.